Okay, we'll call the Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 Williams County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Beth, will you call roll, please?
Barry,
Here.
Corey,
Here.
Bo,
Here.
David.
Here.
We have a quorum. We will continue. We'll start with item B, the Pledge of Allegiance. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with the consent agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote?
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to item D, public comments. And this is just our opportunity for Fendi to come up and let's, but there may be several comments on this topic, so if we can try to keep them to a reasonable amount of time.
For allowing me to speak for a moment, and thank you, Mr. Heimer, for being here. I am Kurt Christensen. I represent IDFE. I was here back on January 17th, 2023 for a hearing. After that hearing, it was relative to being able to obtain building permits or requesting an appeal of the decision on building permits. On March 8th of 2023, Mr. Heimer issued a 4-point letter of items that needed to be corrected or addressed relative to the discussions that the commissioners had on the 17th. I'm happy to report as of the month of October, we have the two big work items, the fire suppression hydrant issue topic, and also the repairs to the wastewater treatment plant. Western State Water and Sewer has made substantial strides in correcting deficiencies that were pointed out. They've worked with the state. I have in my possession and from Elaine documents from the state indicating work has been done. The last thing that needs to be done, they have requested a backup pump, which has been ordered. They have seemingly been so secure in feeling that all the work was done. They've said if you provide us with visual evidence, video recording, that the pump is installed and that the wastewater treatment plant will be cleared of conditions of concern. Relative to the fire hydrants, the Williston Rural Fire Department has been out on 2 occasions, flushed the lines, tested the lines, and come back with pictures and description of the flow being adequate on substantially all of the fire hydrants. The fire hydrants are not apparently required for fire suppression purposes, although it's good to have them. The engines apparently can refill if there were a fire. Rural Water has confirmed that on their systems in other subdivisions, they have the similar situation where they provide water through a master meter situation with a 10-inch main into Fendi, as I understand it, and that is satisfactory to rural water. So apparently there isn't any concern with the fire hydrants being incorrectly hooked up or not appropriate to be in the subdivision in the manner that they exist. So I have both of those documents with the one caveat that there's a condition from the state being satisfied. At that point, we should be clear on those 2 items.
Okay, and you said 2 out of 4. What are the other 2?
One other item was in the commission hearing, they asked for a performance bond to ensure that there wouldn't be problems with the sanitation systems that the developer didn't address. So that was a new item that came up. It had never existed until the 17th, until the letter came out. And the other was to confirm that the stormwater management plan either wasn't in effect or wasn't affecting my Block 11 from being able to have permits. And Block 11, as I mentioned in the hearing then, is fully curb and guttered all around it, streets are all around it, so nothing is changing as far as I know. But there's still some discussion of, how does that meet, or what was the prior approval of the stormwater management for that part of the subdivision. But I wasn't trying to solve that problem or didn't get through any of that because doing the work was the actual bigger, more important item to address. And as far as I'm concerned, although it's taken just over a year, Western State Water and Sewer has been diligent in following up and ordering parts and, getting vendors out there to do things and communicating with, like I said, the fire department, the state, and also rural water where the water actually comes from.
And just as a reminder, this is not a hearing, nothing, there really won't be any action, but this is more of an update, but.
Sure.
Yeah. Are you aware of any outstanding invoices with the water board?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Beth, are you aware of any?
I was really busy yesterday with the
Yeah.
election and stuff, and I didn't have a chance to talk to Kevin, our engineer, but I think he might have sent some stuff to Cameron.
Good morning, Commissioners. Cameron Heimer, Development Services. I'm not aware of the exact dollar amount, but I did talk with Kevin, the water board engineer, and he said there is an outstanding balance, but it was more reflected with the original developer, Fendi, the Fendi Group, not with Mr. Christensen.
Okay. Thank you, Cameron. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you. If you could state your name for the record, please. Thank.
Good morning. My name is Elaine Ullman, and I work for the developer, and I represent Fendi Group. I need to address the fact that we have never walked away from that subdivision. The developer owns property in that subdivision. In the last 12 years, he's invested about $4 million of his own personal money to keep it going. Last year, I got a call from the state health department. Our leach field had breached because the previous contractor had put about 7 foot of dirt on top of our leach field, which couldn't cause it to breathe. We spent $50,000 repairing the leach field. We've had blower motors blow up and take out another motor. It's $25,000 a motor. We've never walked away from this subdivision. We have maintained it. We're doing the best we can with the funds that we have coming in. I'm going to be emailing you guys a bullet point list with all of the documentation that has to do with the original plat, the original development agreement that was turned into the county in 2013. And what I'm looking for is somebody to sit down and talk to us, including the commissioners as well as Mr. Heimer. I have worked with Brent at the rural fire department. He suggested in his letter, which you guys will get a copy of this, that you run a pressure test. County runs a pressure test on there because he believes that we have more pressure in our fire hydrants than what the city has as far as for fire retention. Even though rural water, they use their tanks. That's always what they do. This subdivision was designed after the city Williston. We actually took the plans and streets and everything were designed the way the streets here in Williston were designed back in 2012. We have lots that within the subdivision in the current portion that is buildable. We went from farmland to the county charging us anywhere from $600 to $800 per lot every year for taxes on lots that we're not allowed to build on. And we still be maintaining our taxes. There's more to the story about this subdivision and the documents that I have that I would be presenting to you when I email them to you. We just want to be heard.
And
Yes, right now, we have a housing shortage in Williston. And we have a subdivision that we could build. We're limited to 288 homes per sewer treatment plant, which is a total of 567 homes, right? No, 576 homes, got that backwards. That's what we're limited to. It was never planned to be an 800-home subdivision, even though there's emails and messages and everything saying it was. It was a 703-home subdivision is what it was originally. But the sewer treatment plants can only handle 288 homes. We have 140 homes there now. I manage the water treatment plant. I manage with the state. I fill out all the documents the state requires. In fact, I just got a call last year from state EPA. We didn't know you guys had water in the subdivision. I'm like, you guys approved the plans in 2012. So now I have other documents I have to do for the state. Nothing, we are licensed by the state. We have to follow the EPA laws, federal and state. We can't walk away from the sewer treatment plant. The fines would be, you know, they would destroy Mr. Findich personally. So we've never walked away from the subdivision. And if people in the county would communicate with me and ask me questions, then I could tell them what we've been doing and what we paid for and everything. And so I will present those documents to you guys. I'll email them to you by the end of the week with a cover sheet with bullet points. So that'll give you guys exactly what we've been through since 2012 and what was agreed upon in the plat. And I just appreciate you providing us the time to talk here. I do want to add one more thing. We paid for 137th Northwest. We paid to have it engineered from where it stops when you come off of the bypass and it stops, it turns into the gravel. We paid for plans to be done and drawn to pave 137th Northwest past the main entrance of Findy Estates. We have those plans, all the soil samples. The previous Missouri Ridge Board, is that what they call them, Missouri Ridge Board, that they approved the road plans in 2019. I know the board's changed and everything. But the goal is of the developer and the investors is to pave that road if we can build that subdivision out. And right now, I don't know, a bid in 2018 was 1.9 million. Now, maybe 3 to 4. Some money that the county wouldn't have to pay. And that's the caveat to all of this, if you let us build. And I do have a stormwater management plan, but the plot was approved with a stormwater management plan that was required by the state. And so, again, I'm not gonna talk anymore. I will provide you guys the documents by the end of the week. And thank you so much for letting us have this time.
yeah. Okay, anybody else want to come up and, yep?
My name is Kurt Beatty. I'm a resident at Fendy Estates. I'm all for the new buildings at Fendy under a few conditions. If you drive through Fendy Estates, and I don't know if any of you have, it looks like a slum. The side roads that are not been, construction is not started on, there are literally almost trees growing out of the pavement. The side streets are lined with the properties that aren't being built on or have not started construction. There's weeds up to 3-4 feet tall that are not maintained. In the CC&Rs, properties that are owned are supposed to be maintained, whether there's construction on them or houses on them or not. None of that's happened. It was my understanding that the back when, before the approval for the addition to be started, Gary Fendy or Fendick, however you say his last name, said in a public meeting, I believe in this building, or in this room, that he was going to pave that road. I've lived there over 5 years. It's never been paved. The front entrance has been broken. Literally, concrete is missing, potholes, and their solution to that is bring a dump truck full of gravel and just throw the gravel on. Well, that gravel, as vehicles travel, spreads out, so there's just gravel in all the residents' driveways. It's horrendous. The gated community it's supposed to be, again, 5 years I've lived there, gates never worked. I think if the county wants to approve building permits at Fendi Estates, again, I'm all for it, but there are a multitude of things that need to be fixed. The storm drains, that was part of the plan, or that was told to Fendi prior to building, that they need to have this storm drain settled and done before they were to commence building. Never happened. I have pictures, I went through the community, took pictures just the other day. It's just horrendous. I'm embarrassed. I serve as the county coroner every other year. Talking with sheriff officers on scenes and things like that, and they find out I live at Fendi. Oh, you live out in the hood. It's an embarrassment. The entire community is an embarrassment, and the HOA is non-existent. They have been stripped of their active status through the state as an HOA 5 times. 5 times. Why the state keeps giving them permission to be an HOA, it's horrendous. It's beyond me. So I implore you to make these things happen before you allow permits to be issued for new construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? And just a reminder, state your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Johnson. I'm been a business broker for 27 years and a commercial real estate agent, and I also am a general contractor. I represent LND 9 LLC and LND 11 LLC, and we have invested over $2 million into the Fendi Estates. And the reason we invested into that was because there was plans that were approved for the subdivision and also the water treatment. Obviously, Fendi has also invested over $4 million into this development as well. Around 2019, permits continued to be rejected when people applied for them, and meanwhile, the county has been charging us on taxes for these lots that are no longer buildable. I'm here to just request a meeting with the commissioners to resolve this issue, and that we'd be able to create a win-win situation. And last I checked, there was a shortage of housing, and houses that would be built in this development would generate some more tax revenue, and it would also help out us as investors and builders as well. So that was really the extent of mine, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I have something I have to say.
Okay.
In regard to what Kurt Bates said, the HOA is active status in the state of North Dakota. The entrance will get fixed, but we actually have done it twice. Once we put down, it's asphalt that they use, that I can't think what they call it. And
Recycle.
yeah, and use 20,000 ton roller to, harden it down and flatten it out. I have videos of somebody in a pickup truck out there, spinning their tires and tearing it up. The entrance is gravel because it doesn't make sense. When we start building, that's going to be part of the stuff that's going to get done. We're going to be fixing the entrance correctly and putting the surface, the streets, the current streets do not have the final layer of blacktop on them. If you've ever been in residential construction, you do that at the end. You put your final layer after you've gotten done with everything. I've been doing this for 18 years, working with developments all over this country. And it's just, that's the way it is. But no, the HOA is active. We did lose our active status because of the company that we were using for our resident agent.
Yeah, and I think that's what he was suggesting, is that you've lost it.
We didn't. It's
Yeah.
we're active in the state.
And you've reestablished it?
Yes.
Okay.
And regarding the restrictive covenants in the HOA, there are many homeowners that do not pay their HOA. And to date, the developer's owed about $275,000 of his own money that he's put out to cover the HOA expenses. So you reach a point where how much money are you going to spend out of your own pocket when you're not getting back the HOA stuff that you need to be done? The county's never been in that subdivision to plow it. It gets plowed every winter. I've spent up to $30,000 a year plowing that subdivision when it decides to snow and blow. You know, we get 6-foot, 7-foot drifts out there.
Like the county, it's not the county's responsibility
It
to pay
is.
that, or to plow that road, but
Correct.
let's make sure we give time to the other people to
And they
have
didn't,
comments.
and that's what I'm saying. They've never been in there. We have taken care of that subdivision. We have plowed it, and we do take care of it. I just wanted to let you know that, yes, the HOA is active.
Okay. Good morning.
My name's Abby Steen. I am a owner out in Findie, and I appreciate you guys inviting me. Okay, so 100%, like, it would be wonderful if it could be developed out. You know, Williston is in a need, Williams County, for affordable housing. I run the Williston Board of Realtors. I see it every day. My concern is the infrastructure can handle it. Because I know when I've called rural water, I'm like, hey, you know, the hydrants haven't been tested, and they're like, well, you know, the developer gets upset if we test them. So I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know, you know, my main thing is I just want the infrastructure to be okay, you know. Yeah, and I appreciate y'all listening. I've personally tried to be the intermediary between the residents and the HOA. I have tried to work with the HOA, and I have been requesting, I know this isn't probably the thing to talk about, but I've been requesting for months and months a meeting with the HOA board. Nothing, deaf ears. You know, I want this community to thrive. As an owner, everyone wants, you know, their community, their investment to thrive. But like I said, the infrastructure is my big thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments? I know there's no action to take on this, but would it be good for us to have the staff look into, oh, Cameron, go ahead, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to just briefly add, I know we have a long meeting today, that we look forward to working with Fendi and the developers to correct and complete the issues that are out there in the subdivision. It's been 2 years. We haven't had a call or an email or anything regarding that, so we do want to work with them. We want to find a solution to these uncompleted and issues out there so that they can move forward and continue to build. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. We all know there's a housing shortage, so it would be wonderful to be able to be developed. And we would like to see you succeed in getting it ready, and as well as the homeowners. Would it make some sense to assign or ask staff to come up with any solutions or encourage the communication?
Can I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I think it might be, this is just my opinion, it might be wise to have a meeting with Fendi, a commissioner and development services staff in the evening somewhere so that more residents of Fendi's can attend, because I'm sure there's a lot of residents out there that would like to say something, but obviously they're probably working. So I think for the convenience to hear everybody, that's just my opinion.
Sure. What about the county administrator? Well, it's your portfolio. What's that?
For 2 more weeks.
Helen, do you have any thoughts that you want to share with us?
Good morning. First of all, I don't know that there's not necessarily a path that I understand for the county to solve this problem. I think there are obligations that we expect, a subdivision has to be functional and it has to be, as the last speaker said, able to support new construction. And I think that's been the concern here. So we can have a meeting, but really the conversation, I think, unless you all or Cameron can correct me, I think that the folks who own the subdivision, who run the HOA, manage the infrastructure, need to have it to a certain level. They would then, when they go to development services, the restrictions would be lifted and construction could proceed. I'm glad to go to a meeting if that's what you all want. I mean, I heard a lot of talk today about people wanting to send you all information, but I don't know that the Board of County Commissioners is gonna work day to day to get this solved either. It's just not, is that right?
Correct. I would agree, Helen. The appeal options have been exhausted or the time limit has passed. And so that's why we look forward to working with the developer, but for the county commission isn't necessarily, just in my opinion, the right place to do that. We need to sit down and go over these conditions with them, but we're just waiting to hear from them.
Yeah, I think communication has been the gap in getting this done, and I don't see that from the county side. So if there was a formal meeting or anything to encourage that communication to happen, maybe that will move the needle a little bit. That would be my only thought. Any other thoughts?
I'm thinking the same thing. To me, the only way to air this out is to get the state health department, get everybody at the same table so that it's very clear, because the documents that I'm seeing from the state health department are not good. The pictures that I'm seeing from residents are not good. For my chair, there's nothing should be built out there. I wouldn't want to live out there. So we got to get the state, the county, whoever is involved, the developers, the contractors need to be in the same room, and they need to get it all aired out, get it figured out, because it's up to us to approve what you guys are going to do. And if it's historically a mess, why would we approve it? So that's my personal opinion. I think I tend to agree with Bo, but I think with Cameron, you and your staff, probably including Mr. Christensen, Mr. Johnson, any of the other people that are involved with this, along with the Fendi folks. Because I agree with Bo, the information I'm getting doesn't show that a lot of these things are done. Now, if you're going to send more, that's great, but make sure Cameron gets that stuff too. And then once that happens, then you guys can come back. But I don't see any reason to go on any further than that, because you guys are the pros, and let's get it figured out, because we need the housing.
Yeah. Again, I think just facilitating the conversation might be the only thing that we need to do to help the owners and the developer come together and understand the issues and know how to proceed and move forward. It's pretty clear what Cameron has laid out in the 4 points. So, but I think the homeowners are frustrated that they have no communication with the developer or the HOA. That's pretty obvious. So if we can formalize a meeting and y'all attend, then that bridge is provided to bridge the communication.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's why it's important that I think somebody from the homeowners should be in part of this meeting, because they're the ones that live out there, and they're the ones that have been out there, and they're the ones that live with it every day. So it's important to have their input also.
100%.
Just a random question. Are the residents of that subdivision, aren't they the ones supposed to make up the HOA board?
No. The HOA is still under, sorry.
Oh,
The HOA is still
you have
under
to,
the
you have to
developer.
be at the mic.
The HOA is still under the developer until the subdivision's built out. So the HOA is managed by me, and it stays under the developer until we get the subdivision built out, and then it goes to the homeowners.
Have you thought about asking some of those residents if they would like to fill a couple seats on the HOA board?
We did have residents that were on our board, and they got threatened by other owners out there
Because
they were trying to work with the HOA, and they were threatened.
well, I mean,
So there's a lot of personalities out there. And we had set up a group of people that were going to enforce the CCNRs. And some of them used them to threaten other people, saying, I'm on the HOA and I'm gonna, threaten you because you're not walking down the street the way I want you to walk, or your dog's over here. I've tried this. So there is a board, and on the board is the developer, myself, Dwayne Johnson, and Don. But they don't hold meetings because the developer makes the decisions. Because the HOA is still under the developer. And I actually spoke to an HOA attorney in Fargo, and he said, you have to maintain it. You don't have to even provide financials, which I do. I provide financials every year showing what money was invoiced, what money came in, and what the developer spent, and where the money went.
Clearly, there is a disagreement on that statement.
I know there is.
And anyway, that is likely between the homeowners, and if you engage the homeowners, I've never heard of a situation where you hold the development HOA hostage until it's 100% done. That's
Actually
ridiculous.
that's actually standard.
Yeah, in your
It's in
world.
the, well, no, it's standard. I mean, I've dealt with HOAs and
Chairman, can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think the big thing here is we're putting the cart before the horse.
yes,
We don't care about the HOA right now. You guys have got a lot of work to do to
Yes.
get this done. So why don't we get that done first and make sure all the ducks are in a row, then we get the HOA solved? Because, we can stand here and argue about this all day
all
long,
day long. Yes.
and we're not gonna get anywhere. So, to me, it's back to what we said before. The developers, the owner need to get together with Development Services. Let's get and make sure all these documents and rules and regulations are in place, then we can go to the next step.
The other thing is I live in Las Vegas. So if you're planning a meeting,
We have technology. We can make that happen.
wintertime up here wouldn't be too great, so.
I think that we facilitate the meeting, make sure that the residents get an opportunity. I think that's been the missing gap.
Well, I just sidebarred with Cameron here
Okay.
while you guys were engaged otherwise. So some of the challenges I think that could be a concern is that there's a level of things that the county can help with. We have conditions to make sure that the subdivision is operating adequately so that more residents could be served by the infrastructure that's there. But likely, there's a whole bunch of other things that go on that are typical HOA discussion that the county is not going to be able to resolve. So before I would suggest, although Cameron and I could be at a meeting and one of you could too, if we want, where we allow the property owners to just voice their grievances. But maybe, as I think Corey's saying, we need to be a little further down the road in where might we be getting to solve some of the big problems before we have a meeting where we also add into all of the, the frustrating, real, but smaller problems that go on.
That's fair.
I-
I think the residents need to be heard, and I think their access to the developer is what the missing component is. You just heard it. It's been going on and on and on. I agree. If they can get their ducks in a row, get with Cameron. Cameron is not, he's a very good communicator, so you cannot throw that on him that he's not talking to you. He is a very good communicator and is encouraging development, so I would highly encourage you to work with him.
Yeah, I think in that regard, the issue is that it's not our job to be calling folks to find out how they're doing. We are here serving the work that comes to us, addressing issues that are present. But, we don't have a calling cycle to just call folks and check on them.
Yeah.
Yep, and I appreciate that. And I just wanted to, just for the record, Chairman, or Mr. Chair, the 4 items that Mr. Christensen was talking about were specific to the blocks that he owned. When he appealed, the board had 4 conditions set. There are a few other conditions that Fendi was required to do as a whole. I just wanted to clarify that it was a little different because there's different developers that are involved, but the Fendich Group, that is the original developer, and I believe who Elaine is representing today.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I think the path forward is, first meeting would be Development Services and the owners of property, of big blocks of property, developers out there.
Yep.
State Health Department, whoever, I mean, whoever has got issue with what's going on out there. I think they all need to be in the same room so that they're just get it all out in the open. This is what's required. This is what's done. This is what's not done. Path forward.
I hear the
I think the
owners-
letters, though, the owner's saying they have a letter already. So if you have that letter, get it to Cameron that says it's okay, because we have a letter that said it's not okay.
Yeah.
So therefore, we got to find out which letter is the most current, obviously.
Yeah,
So I think if you let them start, because then they know what steps they got to take. If we start laying down every person that's got to be here, you're never going to get this meeting done.
And you're correct, Corey, that there's a lot of information today that I learned that I'd never received, that different entities have approved or changed things, and I'd look forward to seeing those, because some of the information that we have, such as fire hydrants and whatnot, were not up to standard. So I would look forward to seeing those, and yes, I do look forward to sitting down with the developer to get updated with the status and progress, and then work something to get it moving forward.
Wonderful.
But we hear you saying also you'd like to help facilitate
Yeah.
the property owners too.
Yeah.
Might just be a little later.
Yep. That's fair. They just need a voice.
Okay.
Okay. And I think with that, we'll move on. And we'll jump right into planning and zoning. Oh, sorry. I skipped right over. it. Dennis, item E, bid openings and proposals.
Thank you again.
Morning.
Morning.
Bid opening, loader. So I'll read three. Ironhide equipment, 300, purchase price, net purchase price, or not net. Purchase price, 316,000. Trade-in of our 644, $70,000, with a net purchase price of $246,000. The repurchase price, 3 years, 170,000, 4 years, 160,000, 5 years, 150,000. RDO equipment, purchase price, 357,000. Trade-in, 644, 110,500. Net purchase price, 246,500. Guarantee buyback, 3 year, 266,900. 4 years, 242,600. Year 5, $218,380. Tractor and equipment, purchase price, 327,500. Trade-in, John Deere, 34,000. Net purchase price, 293,500. Repurchase, 3 year, 172,000. 4 years, 142,000. 5 year, 126,000.
How many hours are on that one we're trading? Just curious. I know that probably puts you in a bind.
Boy, I'm shooting from the hip, like between 7 and 8,000. I'm shooting from the hip there. Sorry, I should have that answer.
Do you have a recommendation? I mean, I guess my initial thought is RDO, but is that?
That's
what
my
do you think?
recommendation, yes. The repurchase. Gives you pretty good indication.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious which is the better deal.
I'd make a motion, we go with RDO, I guess.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. right, Michelle, you're up.
Good morning, Michelle Haugen with County Planning. The first item we have today is LU-0058-24, which is Evan Vettel with Cherry Creek Water. They're requesting a conditional use permit to construct a freshwater holding pond, and the subject is currently within the agricultural zoning district. This is located in the east half of the Northwest, Government Lot 1 and Government Lot 2 of Section 31, 15697, which is Equality Township. They did say that they were undecided on this project, but felt that 61st Street Northwest needs to be built to the township specifications prior to construction of the site. The applicant is requesting the conditional use permit, which will construct a freshwater holding pond on the subject property. The pond will be approximately 4 million BBL lined earthen berm pond. The interior of the pond will be lined with a 60 mil HDPE geomembrane barrier. The pond will be surrounded by a 3-strand barbed wire fence. Purpose of the pond is to further support and aid oil well production and development within the area. The applicant has multiple surface and groundwater permits near this location that will be utilized for the pond. They will have mobile diesel pumps deployed as a primary method of pumping the water out of the pond, which will then be transferred through overland transfer tubing. Access to the pond location is taken off of 61st Street Northwest. When Planning and Zoning heard this item, they did recommend approval 5-0.
Is the applicant present? No. This is also a location for the big basin electric power plant that they're proposing. Could that come in handy from a construction perspective too, having access to fresh water right there? No. It's right by Wheelock, so. Anyway, what are the wishes of the board?
I'd make a motion to follow planning and zoning and staff recommendations.
And approve it? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so the second item this morning is LU-0061-24. Jim Talbert with Magnus Services is requesting a conditional use permit to construct a freshwater holding pond within the agricultural zoning district. This particular property is located in the southwest quarter of Section 11, Township 156 North, Range 103 West, which is Bull Butte Township. They also were undecided on their recommendation. However, they did list a few things on their comments as maintain road access in like or better condition. If pit and proposed well cause more seepage and water flow, they will be liable to correct damage to land and the roads. Proper state permits for all water wells. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to construct a freshwater pond on the subject property. According to the applicant, the pond will be approximately 385,961 BBLs. It will be 512 feet by 600 feet with a depth of 15.4 feet. And the maximum slope of this will be 3-to-1. The pond will be lined with a 30 mil polypropylene. Purpose of this pond is for storage of fresh water to be utilized in oil well production of the area. The water will be pumped out of the holding pond by diesel trailer mounted pumps. The applicant is working with the landowner for the best option for security fencing to surround the site. However, they are anticipating it to be a 3-strand barbed wire fence. The applicant has an industrial groundwater permit for the area, which will supply the water for the holding pond. Access to this property is taken off of 149th Avenue Northwest. Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval on this one 5-0.
Okay, is the applicant present on this one? Okay.
Good morning, Jim Talbert with Magnus Services.
Good morning. Any comments on this?
We agree to all the conditions, and we're anxious to get started.
Okay, any questions from the board? If not, what are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve following planning and zoning recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Bo,
Yes.
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so the next item we have today is LU-0066-24. Charlie Heisted Moe is requesting a conditional use permit for an additional dwelling on a property within the rural residential zoning district. Property is located in the northwest of Section 28, Township 155 North, Range 102 West, which is Mont Township, and they have recommended approval on this particular item. The applicant is requesting the conditional use permit for an additional single-family residence on their property. Subject property is approximately 39 acres and is within that rural residential zoning district, and it does allow for a second dwelling with an approved conditional use permit. The applicant is working through the building permit process to purchase a modular to be placed on the subject property where the original home had been placed. The applicant's sister, Katie Hudson, is also working through the building permit process to place a second modular on the property. Access to the subject property can be taken off of either 56th Street Northwest, which is County Road 6, or 145th Avenue Northwest, which is County Road 1. When planning and zoning heard this item, they did recommend approval 5-0.
Okay, is the applicant present? Any, okay, yes.
I'm Katie Hudson, the sister. I'm not really the applicant. She couldn't make it for work.
That's okay. Any questions for the applicant? Sorry to make you come all the way up for nothing, but
Thank you.
thank you. All right, what are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve following staff comments.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
We've had a race for second all day long. Yeah. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Bo,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, so next up we have LU-0068-24. Evan Vettel with Cherry Creek Water is requesting a conditional use permit to construct a booster pumping station within the agricultural zoning district. This is located in the southeast, except for the state highway, of Section 31, Township 155 North, Range 96 West. This is located in Farmvale Township, and we have not received comment back from them. The applicant is requesting the conditional use permit, which will construct and operate a freshwater booster pump station in the agricultural zoning district. The project site will consist of a 32 by 28 building that will house dual 350 horsepower 6x6 split case pumps powered by 3-phase electric. The building will be equipped with a control system that will be monitored and administered remotely. Traffic to and from the site will be minimal, with just periodic stops to check on the site and for routine maintenance. The main purpose of this pumping station is to pump water to the Haughey Pond via pipeline, which will in turn then be utilized for oil well production and development within the area. The water will be acquired from multiple surface and groundwater permits already secured by Cherry Creek Water. Access to this property will be taken off of 111th Avenue Northwest, which is also known as County Road 17A. On this item, when planning and zoning heard it, they did recommend approval 5-0.
Okay, the applicant is not present, so what are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve following staff comments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Everybody's gun shy now. Any comments? Hearing no comments, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so next up today, we have LU-0071-24, which is Ed Rintamaki on behalf of the city of Williston. They're requesting a zone change to urban residential for a proposed approximately 1.61 acre parcel. Property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. This is currently known as MS 19-0018, which is located in section 31, township 154 north, range 101 west, which is Williston Township. Township has no issues with this project. The applicant is working through the re-subdivision process, which will create 2 lots. The parent property is approximately 22 acres and is within that agricultural zoning district. The newly created lots will be approximately 19.11 acres and 1.61 acres. The larger lot of 19.11 acres houses the water treatment plant and will remain within the agricultural zoning district. The applicant is requesting the zone change to urban residential for the proposed 1.61 acre parcel that has a single-family residence on it. The purpose of this re-subdivision is to separate the home from the water treatment plant. Access to both the newly created parcels is through private drives off Broken Horn Trail. The subdivision is going through the review process with all the appropriate county departments, and recordation will be contingent on the approval of the zone change. The newly created lots will be known as MS 24-0043 and MS 24-0044. When Planning and Zoning heard this item, they also recommended approval 5-0.
Okay, Mr. Rintamaki, do you have anything to add?
Good morning, Ed Rintamaki, 49th Latitude Land Survey. My client, Dave Juma, with the city is here, so he's probably best equipped to answer any questions if you guys have any, so.
Okay. Mr. Juma, do you have anything? I have a quick question for him, so.
Morning, Your Honor, Commissioners, David Juma, City Engineer for Williston.
Do you have, is it being separated out to be sold or turned private or?
So what we're intending to do, as you are aware, we are transferring the plant to WAS underneath their control. The city wants to keep the house for housing for our own internal uses for employee housing. That's what we're trying to do here.
Okay, wonderful. Any other questions? If not, then what are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve following planning and zoning recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this next one is LU-43-24. Steve Mortensen is requesting a variance to remain in the agricultural zoning district for a newly created 10-acre lot that does not meet the minimum required acreage. Subject property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. This property is located in the east half of Section 12, Township 153 North, Range 103 West, which is Hardscrabble Township. Our office had sent out township packets originally with this being a zone change to heavy industrial. And at that point in time, the township did recommend denial on it, as they felt heavy industrial was not part of the comprehensive plan and it was more spot zoning. After a change to our ordinance, our office did send out updated township forms to Hardscrabble Township regarding the variance. Township has now recommended approval on this, but wanted it to be made clear that the road will not be maintained by anyone of the township. So for this, the applicant is requesting a minor subdivision, which will create 2 lots. The parent property is within the agricultural zoning district and consists of approximately 321.53 acres. The newly created lots will be the 10-acre parcel and then 311.53 acres. The larger parcel will remain in the agricultural zoning district, while the applicant is requesting the variance for the 10-acre parcel to also remain in that agricultural zoning district. Purpose of this minor subdivision is to create a parcel for future creation and development of a data cryptocurrency center. The data cryptocurrency center would need to go through and obtain the conditional use permit, which we will hear shortly. Access to the newly created lot will be taken off the private access road that branches off of 147th Avenue Northwest. The minor subdivision has gone through the review process and has been approved for Mylar, with recordation being contingent on the approval of this variance. The lots are to be known as MS 24-0030 and MS 24-0031. This item was originally heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission in July as a zone change to heavy industrial zoning district. And at that time, as stated before, Hardscrabble Township did recommend denial. The commission also felt that it would be spot zoning, so they recommended to table it to hear it at the same time as the data center. Then, of course, at the August 15th meeting here, Cameron Heimer did present the amendment to the Williams County zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations that allowed data centers to be a conditional use within the agricultural zoning district. This amendment was then approved by the Williams County Board of County Commissioners on August 20th. Once the amendment took place, Steve Mortensen and I had a discussion and did feel the variance was more appropriate for this area. We did hear this again in September at the Planning and Zoning meeting, and they also decided to table it so we could hear it in October. When they did finally hear this again in October, they did recommend approval 5-0 on this item.
Okay. Mr. Mortensen, anything that you would like to add?
My name is Steve Mortensen, landowner. I was approached by the people on this project here, and, you know, with the regulations, I believe the county did set up with, you know, no residential location of a data center in a 1 mile area. It's kind of why we picked, I mean, this area to go with. As far as any water concerns, it's going to be set up to where it'll drain towards the east there, so it won't be affecting any landowners, other landowners' property that way there. There wasn't concern about possibly if it would affect cattle, and I did a little research on that, and I know there's some of these in Texas where they have to actually fence them out, and this whole 10-acre parcel will be fenced out. They'll be using 8 containers, storage containers, where they'll be putting the miners in. And then they plan on double-decking storage containers around there to reduce the sound. And this project here will probably be 10 times less than Atlas Power Center. And we look to kind of build it into the hill to where the center will only probably take about 2 acres on the 10-acre parcel, and then maybe plant trees within the 10 acres, just, you know, if the noise. But, I mean, the noise out of this size of system and with the line that's coming back there, it's never going to be any bigger than 8 megawatts. So I think we've addressed all the concerns on it, but, you know, like I say, I just feel these data centers are still a good investment in our area. I mean, we want to keep producing oil. They're taking the gas for generation plant. I mean, that's just one way that we're going to be able to keep drilling in this area, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, if not, what are the wishes of the board?
Would make a motion to approve approve and follow planning and zoning's recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Beth, roll call vote, please.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so the final item we have today is LU-0073-24. This is for GoGo Technologies, who are requesting the conditional use permit to construct and operate that cryptocurrency data mining facility within the agricultural zoning district. The the landowner is currently Steve Mortensen. However, GoGo Technologies does have a purchase agreement for the proposed 10-acre lot. This is, as stated before, east half of Section 12, Township 153 North, Range 103 West, which is Hardscrabble Township. They did not submit a formal comment on this particular item, as they felt they had addressed everything in the prior times that they had received comment. So the applicant is requesting the conditional use permit to construct and operate a cryptocurrency data mining facility on a 10-acre proposed parcel, while the site location itself will only be approximately 1 acre. The site will consist of 8 40-foot modular containers that will house the mining equipment. There will be an additional container located on the far end of the facility that will be utilized for storage. 3 transformers will also be located on the site, which will run the mining equipment, as well as main disconnect. The site will be fully fenced and secured. According to the applicant, the site will have 24/7 security, which will be provided by a local vendor. They do anticipate 3 technicians to supervise the facility using a combination of on-site and remote supervision. The applicant has a signed power agreement with Montreal Williams Electric Cooperative to receive up to 8 megawatts of power for the facility, and this is considered an interruptible load project. Access to the site is through the private road that branches off of 147th Avenue Northwest. From that private road, the site will be set 91 feet off the road with an access drive to the fenced site. Subject property is currently going through that minor subdivision and variance process, and approval of this conditional use permit will be contingent on the recordation of the plat. When Planning and Zoning heard this item on October 17th, they did recommend approval with a vote of 3-2.
Okay, is the applicant present? Oh, yep, go ahead and come on up. We'll allow for a question. Yep.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andre Ketchik, owner of GoGo Technologies.
Wonderful. Do you have any comments, or does the board have any questions?
Yeah, so since I was here last time, we worked really close with the development department and with all the requirements and obligations. So we're very committed to make sure everything is fulfilled, and we addressed all the issues that were brought up. Yeah, we've again talked with Steve. You know, this project is going to really benefit the community because, I mean, we're buying power from, local power generations that are using gas and oil. We're also investing in just local community in terms of training up some of the technicians. We're going to be providing that to the local community. And then all the vendors are locally sourced. Pretty much the entire project will be built by just local guys here from the area.
Okay, any questions for the applicant?
Yes, they've been working with us, and so far they have met the conditions of the new ordinance that are required. There's a couple other items that have to be finished before a building permit can be applied for, such as the financial security, and I think they're already on track, but to finish with the water board. But they have been working with us through this.
Wonderful.
Access to this must be coming from the north, from Highway 2 going south.
Yep, it comes from Highway 2 and then it branches like right in there.
Okay. We have one member of the public, looks like, has a question or comment.
My name is Lynn Russell, and I live 1 mile south of what's going to go in, and my granddaughter and her husband are in the process of building a house just east of me in section 24. And I have a lot of questions about this. I've heard greenhouse gas is present. I've heard that it can pollute the water and the land, and I just want to know if this is all true. We still farm and ranch there.
Yeah,
I don't know who's going to answer this for me.
the applicant will. Okay, yep, please.
So the facility will not be using any water at all, so there's no zero water usage.
Okay.
Because we're just using air for cooling. So there's no pollution or contamination of any kind or sort.
And where did you say the power is coming from?
So there's a power line already in place. We're using existing infrastructure, existing lines, yeah.
Okay. Is that going to cause my electricity to go up?
No, in fact,
My taxes?
No, in fact, there's gonna be more revenue for the treasury because we're paying a lot of taxes on the usage of that electricity.
And what is the longevity of this?
We have the way the business is structured. Our clients, they sign a 10-year lease to just start working with us in that location, and it's renewed annually. So we expect this to last for many years.
And then who cleans it up when it's done?
We have the estimate done by the engineering in terms of what it would take to, let's say, restore it. Ideally, the site is very modular because it's using those modular container units.
Right.
So very easy to pick them up and leave if there's a need for that.
And pretty to look at.
Yeah, we'll make it pretty.
I will also add part of the financial and security bond that they will be required prior to getting a building permit will cover the cost for any reclamation if they were to just disappear.
Okay, well, this is a homestead farm. There was 8 families that homesteaded here, and I hate to see things getting that close to it when we're starting to, our families want to build there too now. That's all I have to say. I've known Steve forever, so.
Just one thing, ma'am, hopefully maybe a little bit of peace of mind for you and your family is that this is a conditional use permit. So if things do go drastically south with this facility in the future, the commission has a right to pull their permit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, just to clear something up. When it says it's considered interruptible, that means, so if in the future something we have issues with, blackouts or brownouts or whatnot, they get shut off before residents get.
Peak usage, and it's in their best interest to shut it off because they pay more power under peak power, so, yep.
So I had a phone call with Montreal Williams, it's been a few months ago now, and they did, I'm certainly not a power expert, but there's tiers, and they're one of the lower tiers, and so they are interruptible, according to what we were told. And I just wanted to add, there are design standards in place that talk about buffering, landscaping, and so those will be covered through the building permit process as well.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, what are the wishes of the board?
I would make a motion to approve following staff comments.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bo?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we're on to item H on the agenda, report of departments, starting with the auditor. Brenda, you're doing it? Okay.
I believe the first thing on the agenda is the hearing for objections for cities and townships to the minimum bid price for tax foreclosure.
Yes. So,
You need to open that hearing.
okay. Okay, we're gonna open the hearing for tax foreclosure objections, cities and townships. Is there any comment from the public? I don't need to guide me through this. Okay, second call for any public comments on tax foreclosure objections, cities and townships. Okay, third and final call for any comments for the tax foreclosure objections, cities and townships. Okay, closing the hearing.
Thank you. The next thing we have on there is for a purchase of some William County property. I was contacted by Colleen Baxter, and she was interested in buying a lot that was owned by the county. That's kind of sandwiched in between two of her other lots. I did do some research on it. The county acquired it in a deed back in 1979. I did then reach out to Dennis, who stated that, because it was deeded to county highway, that the highway does not, in fact, use this parcel at all. He has no reason for the county to hold on to it. I then reached out to the assessor's office, to Ashley Cragen, and she did give us a value on that property of $260. And then I also visited with Karen, who drew up a deed, should you guys approve, for her to purchase that. My understanding from Karen is, as long as that property is under $1,000, we do not have to advertise for it, and the commission can make the decision to just sell it to Colleen Baxter.
Okay,
Oh, you didn't draft a deed yet? Okay,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. If we approve, you will draft a deed?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yep. Gotta follow the rules. Yeah.
Yes, Karen Prout, Assistant State's Attorney, Williams County. Yeah, if you guys approve it, obviously I would draft a deed, but I also draft a purchase and sales agreement where she'd have to agree to prepay the taxes. And if you did agree to do it, you'd also have to sign a resolution authorizing a private sale to Ms. Baxter, so, which I do have, so.
Okay. That sounded like a motion if anybody wanted to make it. Nope.
Got it.
Okay.
I'll make that a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Yeah, if you're gonna make the motion, we would want a motion about how much you want to sell it to her for.
Okay. We need an amended motion.
You just want to go with the amount that the assessor's office said it was worth?
Yeah.
Which was $260.
$260.
Like a lot of work. I would amend the second on that also.
Okay. We have an amended motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
David?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
No, I'll just give the resolution to Beth for you to sign, so.
Okay, thank you.
The last things on our list here are the city array, per North Dakota Century Code 57-28-19, are going to exercise their right to purchase a tax foreclosure property before the former owner, as they do have delinquent specials on it. And I just need your approval and have the commissioners sign off on that.
Okay.
And then we also have 2 repurchase agreements for former owners to purchase those properties. One of them is the former owner's husband and wife as together, and the other one is surviving spouses of the former owner, or surviving daughters of the former owner.
Can we do them all in one motion, or do we need to do them separately? Okay. Yes.
Yes, Karen Prout, Assistant State Attorney, Williams County. Yes, you can go ahead and do them all together.
Thank you. What are the wishes of the board?
Well, I'd make a motion to approve the sale.
The
The
repurchase sales.
repurchase of the 3 parcels we talked about.
There's more than 3 parcels. There's 3 purchases.
Oh.
There's a total of 6 parcels.
Yeah, I would just make a motion to approve the repurchases and the purchases and the purchase to the city, or the,
For the 2021.
yeah, as presented. I mean,
There you go. Okay, we have a motion for the repurchases. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
And just to give you a heads up, that resolution that Steve is going to be signing, it authorizes Steve to sign any documents that are related to the sale to Ms. Baxter, just so you know.
Okay. Okay. All right, Dennis.
Okay, NCC would like to parallel County 5 down to the Interpretive Center by Buford. And to parallel, they have to run in our easement. And if you guys allow that or approve that, it's a mile, roughly. They're going through Buford and then paralleling along our road. And of course, they have to get landowners' approval, but they're in our easement, so they have to get your approval also. And they're trying to get it done before our next season.
And I would imagine if, for, it's a standard, if there was any future road construction or anything like that, it would be up to them to.
Relocate or lower, correct. It's in our permit process,
Yep.
correct. We're a little ahead of their steps because they're trying to get it in before next season.
I would approve, or I would make a motion to approve the NCC's paralleling County 5.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Corey,
Yes.
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 Barry,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Go ahead and come on up, Keith.
Good morning, Commissioners. You'll see a quote there for a new loader for the Facilities Department to help us move snow in the wintertime. This loader is in the 2025 budget, but we found this one at a significant cost savings for a 2-year-old loader with 30 hours on it. We went out and looked at it, test drove it. It's pretty much brand new. talking to Christie about it, we'd do a budget amendment, which would take the money for 25 and 24. So we'd be able to purchase it now and be able to use it for the full season now.
If we get any snow.
If it's coming.
Dennis is all mad at me now. I just jinxed it. so yeah, well, you know, some people make money off of this, so. Yes. Yeah, no.
Nobody makes money off, so.
I would make a motion to approve that purchase and, I guess, according to the budget.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before you come up, Helen, Grant, do you guys have anything? Okay, come on up.
Yeah, so first of all, I wasn't in the office over the weekend, and so I didn't see until yesterday, and then we were busy electioning that an item on the consent agenda I just wanted to talk about a little bit, and that's what Grant is here for. So way back in 1997, when I worked in the Veterans Office, it's where that was my first job at Williams County, was in the Veterans Office. We always have supported some of the efforts to serve veterans in the community. And now the folks out of the Legion have really created a new organization called Veterans United. It's a 501c3 or C4, and it is going to do some of that work that the Veterans Office has always helped to support with. And so now we're making a more formal agreement with them. And so the Veterans Office is going to do what we always did, plus a little more. And Veterans United is going to contribute some money to the county as an offset for the use of our staff. And frankly, if my opinion, and of course Karen wrote up this agreement, we've been through quite a long process. They have an attorney. We're all the way through that. But the good folks who are working on behalf of the American Legion or the other service organizations all typically have jobs, and that's an evening side hustle volunteer gig. And so it's really nice that the Veterans Office can be a daytime, open in the hours when it makes sense to be conducting some of that kind of business, just a landing place for all of that work. And it's really generous and a benefit to us that they're willing to help offset some of the expenses that we're going to incur just by paying staff and doing all that. So I'm excited to get into writing to solidify something that we've really been doing long-term. Grant and Robin, who works over there, have actually been doing a whole bunch of this over the years in some form or another. So I guess Grant can speak to it if he wants to as well, but I just wanted to call out that item on the consent agenda and why we're doing what we're doing.
Williams County, Veteran Service Officer. I've been working on this for quite a while with the folks over at the Legion. It's something that we really feel is important. We really appreciate the Commission's willingness and Williams County's willingness to allow my office to do this and take some time that I've already been taking to ensure that our veterans and first responders are taken care of. And it's not only just the 8 to 5, everyone's got my number. I've been doing the job for 15 years. I don't know why I carry a Williams County cell phone, because everyone's got my personal number. But that being said, so it's Sunday, it's Saturday, it's after 5 o'clock, it's early in the morning. We've also reached out to a lot of our community partners through the American Legion, like Connect Us Therapy, and trying to develop good relationships with them to ensure that our first responders and our veterans here have immediate access to mental health care if the need should arise. With the start of this, we've helped quite a few with transportation, not for immediate services and crisis need, but we have helped area first responder in this time. We've also helped his family as well. So if you have any questions, I think I'm presenting my office next month, so I'll have some more information for you. You guys think about it, or if you have questions now, I can address them now.
Oh, sounds like a really good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Graham.
All right, on to the position report. We have 2 positions that we're seeking your permission to fill. In the IT department, we've done a little bit of restructuring. We had a position that was we called it logistics coordinator, so not so IT focused, but just focused on some of the managing of the tickets and the workload and the inventory and the ordering. And we had that person relocated out of the area. And so then Keith and I and Ryan did some brainstorming, and Keith and Ryan came up with a real good plan. We're gonna use an IT person to do some of those duties, and we're gonna then fill that position with a desktop support technician. So utilize somebody who's already in the department to handle those pieces, and then hire one more person who will go out and actually be doing the work on equipment. So it's an opening in the department, not an added position, but redesigned a little bit. And then we have a corrections deputy at the jail. So permission to fill both of those if we could.
What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote, please.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes. Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And I would just want to say on Election Day preemptively, thanks to everyone in the auditor's office who's worked really hard. Really, it starts before June. It's a grind all the way through for sure in a presidential year. Boy, they've put in a lot of work and effort. There's a lot of training. We had all of the election workers in the building last week they are here for some number of hours, some of them for a full day of training. Really amazing to see citizens from all over the county that are here volunteering. Not only do we vote to do our part, but we need people working in the polling locations today to make it happen. The National Association of Counties put out information last night that said across the country there will be 100,000 polling locations, give or take, and approximately 630,000 polling workers today. And so lots of people give up time to work the polls so that we can get those ballots counted in the coming days. We had a busy day here, both on Friday and yesterday. Right after school, until we closed the doors at 5 o'clock, we had a line really out the back door, so all the way on the L-shaped corridor. People were, I was playing hostess a little bit. I can't answer a lot of election questions, but I can hand a clipboard to somebody and a pen. And so I did that work for a little bit, and people were real appreciative and real thankful and respectful. Frankly, the only folks who we got some irritation out of were those that came in with an out-of-state driver's license. So we know in North Dakota, you become a North Dakota resident by way of registering your vehicles or getting an ID. It's through DOT. And so folks who were sort of at the last minute wanting to understand how voter registration worked here were the folks that I got a little ire from. But gosh, the day before, it was too late for me to be able to help them. So I did get a report from our scout at the polling locations today, and the report was that it was busy this morning, although less than an hour to get through at, it sounded like all the locations. Let me verify though, folks. Yep, the ARC line.
Otherwise known as Lindsay?
Yep, yeah, Lindsay, yeah, right. I think she knew that Beth can't be getting text messages while she's trying to keep track. So it was me she sent it to. So yep, the ARC area was full. The line outside was relatively short, less than 30 minutes at 9 o'clock when I heard from her. Ray and Tioga also had good traffic. Fairgrounds, the line was there, but folks weren't outside. So we stood outside a little while yesterday for maybe 4 to 4:30, the line actually extended on the sidewalk, but it was a beautiful day to be out there. I think those of us that stood outside were pretty glad to be doing it.
Yeah. Thankfully,
So,
we got
the-
relatively good weather.
Yeah, the other thing that happens that does make me proud here is that everybody in this building really kicks in to support the auditor's office. Whether it's people stopping to give directions for the last couple of weeks as people are looking, or we have people from departments throughout this building that that jump in when the auditor's office says, boy, we just need somebody to make some copies, or can you help with this counter, can you? So it's kind of a fun time to everybody pull together. More fun for those of us jumping in than for the auditor's office, who's getting kind of tired at this point. But anyway, thanks to everyone who makes the election pull off. The Secretary of State's website is the place to get the information. In the old days, you'd come to the county website, but now the Secretary of State statewide takes care of all of those reports. So that's the place to go tonight.
Yeah, back in the old days where we had the old punch cards and counting machines.
Brads and Chads.
Yeah.
What I remember from those days is there were those little things all over the courthouse. There were Chads all over the courthouse for 3 weeks after the election.
And they still have our election equipment at the State Historical Society that they roll every so often and put it on display.
Wow.
Because
Jerry
I
Jerry should go
refuse to
down
go
there
the
and
other way.
program it and make sure it's still working.
That's
you know.
right.
I can do it.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you very, very much, Auditor's Office and all the people working the election. What an important thing they do. And by George, hopefully everybody gets out to vote. Sounds like a good turnout. Any other comments for the auditors? It's your portfolio, Bo.
Good work. I don't get any nasty phone calls, so you guys must be doing a bang-up job, so.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
As of yesterday, we had
Yeah.
6,777 ballots out. We had 6,352 back in. So we have less than 450.
Your mic's not working. You just said use your mic.
I did. Okay, it's going to be a good day.
I can interpret. We have record returns on the absentee ballots that had been sent out.
Yeah.
Like less than 200. Did you do it? 300?
452.
Oh, 400 and out of 6,700.
Yeah.
Nearly all of those have been returned, which isn't usually people get them and then they forget to mail them in, or so. I mean, just people are engaged and want their voice to be heard.
Absentee ballots from Washington and Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes as we are going through the items that get dropped in the box, people accidentally drop out-of-state ballots in there, and then we track them down so that they can get sent to the right state.
Wow.
Good. Great, thanks, gentlemen.
The workshop that they put on at the Association of Counties conference was very good on the election and, proving what safeguards that the state of North Dakota has done. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the state does a fantastic job and then gives you all the training and all the support we need. So.
They give us all the machines. I called one day and said that 2 of our machines are down. The next day, they had somebody here from ES&S to fix the machines. He just happened to be in Billings. He said, might as well drive over. So we got 2 of them fixed like within 24 hours.
That's great.
Everybody is great to work with.
In a little reading I did, one of the benefits of small population states with good volunteer turnout for polling locations is that we can pull off a real nice effort here. I think in high population states where they struggle to get volunteers, there might just not be quite the same Midwestern sentiment. I think it gets more complicated. We have a lot of steps that provide safeguards.
And also a big thank you to the other polling locations, the cities. They provide lunch and supper for the election workers, so that's very nice.
Awesome. Okay, anything else? All right, we have adjourned 9:34 and 23 seconds, 24 seconds, 25 seconds.
I really don't